the whole series of these verses are very difficult to understand and explain. And only Allah can guide you to the true meaning of these verses. But we have got some help from Hazrat Muslim Islam, which works as a key to the understanding of all these verses. If you got the key, then you can of course open up all these locks. Please.
Which number is it? Verse number?
24.
24. Begins with Inni wajadtu imra'atan tamlikuhum wa utiyat min kulli shay'in wa laha arshun azim. I found a woman ruling over them, and she has been given every necessary thing, and she has a mighty throne. Wajadtuha wa qawmaha yasjuduna lishamsi min dunillah. I found her and her people worshipping the sun instead of Allah, and Satan has made their works look beautiful to them, and has thus hindered them from the right way, so that they are not rightly guided. Allah yasjudu lillahi allazi yukhrijul khaba fis samawati wal ardh, and they insist that they will not worship Allah, while Allah is He who brings to light that which is hidden in the heavens and the earth, and who knows what you conceal and what you disclose of your design. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa rabbul arshil azim. Allah, there is no God but He, the Lord of the mighty throne. So that's an occasion for sajda.
That's right. Now we should do sajda now. Why didn't you read the specific verse alone? But no harm in sajda. It's all right, it's clean. For sajda it's all right. Pila sajda tilawat. All right, please.
After that, see that?
No, they come to the verse, specific part of that verse which he wants me to explain. It's a short part of that verse which is.
Yes. وَإِنِّي مُرْسَلَةٌ إِلَيْهِمْ بِهَدِيَّةٍ فَنَاظِرَةٌ بِمَا يَرْجُو الْمُرْسَلُونَ. But I am going to send them a present.
No, not the one. This answer of Hazrat Sulaiman. That is the one she. That's right. That's right. Yes, this is the answer.
Go back to them, for we shall surely.
This is the real part. Yes.
With hosts against which they will have no power of resistance, and we shall drive them out of their land disgraced, and they will be humbled.
And hadiyatikum tafrahun, that part also should be read. She read that as well. Antum bi hadiyatikum tafrahun.
So when the queen's envoy came to Solomon, he said, "Do you presume to help me with your wealth? But that which Allah has given me is better than that which He has given you."
The words of the verse.
فَلَمَّا جَاءَ سُلَيْمَانَ قَالَ أَتُمِدُّونَنِي بِمَالٍ فَمَا آتَانِيَ اللَّهُ خَيْرٌ مِّمَّا آتَاكُمْ بَلْ أَنْتُمْ بِهَدِيَّتِكُمْ تَفْرَحُونَ.
The word tumiduna has been translated help. It may be translated, but here in this context the meaning should be, do you want to add to my wealth, extend my wealth further by these gifts? I am not interested in money, because Allah has granted me wealth far more than you can imagine. So you have read me wrong. I am not an ordinary conqueror who conquers territories for the sake of wealth. I am not interested in earthly glory, because God has already granted me far more than God has granted you. There is one thing which should be understood, that he is not an ordinary conqueror. You read the history of great people whose name is famous for their conquest of big territories of the world. you'll always find them amassing wealth, collecting them and carrying that wealth home. So this is one distinction between Hazrat Sulaiman's invasion of that area, the territory of Malka Saba, Queen Saba, and other conquests of worldly sultans, or what they call, those who invade other people, those great generals that you say, or great kings who invade other people's territory. Yet, I agree with you, if not properly understood, this verse carries a tone or an implication which one does not like in relation to a prophet of God. What right has a prophet of God to invade other people without any cause, and to bring about a revolution within them, to turn the high to low and low to high and this and that? What right did Sulaiman have? Isn't he despotic in this answer and in this attitude? And again the question is, the queen, poor queen, and she is siding with the lady, of course, naturally, it's a lady who is asking the question. The poor queen offered gifts. And what rudeness this is. Take away your gifts, I don't like this. So this is what is bothering your khala. A poor lady, who is so fine and decent, who sent gifts to an invading king, and he rejects the gift. That is one sign of bad temper. Add to that the threat that I am going to conquer you. It's a good question, I must say. But you should remember that Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam made these excursions into different territories and in different directions, not by initiating a state of war between him and other states of the area. There was a time when Hazrat Daud alayhi salatu wasalam was unlawfully and unjustifiably invaded by the surrounding kings, and they continued to invade him and try to deprive him of his sovereignty over certain areas. Then Hazrat Daud alayhi salatu wasalam defeated them with an iron grip, got the command of the state and defeated them hollow. After the death of every great sovereign, these things begin to rise. The heads begin to rise again to destroy the empire. So we know from history that immediately after the death of Hazrat Daud alayhi salatu wasalam, the same people, same rebellious people, once again try to wrench themselves out of the command of Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam. So his campaign was a wide campaign of rehabilitating his own lost territory if it was occupied, or to remove the threat to that territory from the surrounding kingdoms which had already appeared. So that is why he traveled far and wide. His intention was not to amass wealth. God had already given him much. His intention was to establish a rule of law and peace under his command in the entire region, which had lost their right to command because they had already risen in rebellion against his father and his own rule. Now this is a very important factor which is not specifically mentioned here, but we should be kept in mind, because if you understand this, then you will understand the wars of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah much better. Once a state of war begins, then unless a peace treaty is signed or one warring party defeats the other, that state of war does not come to an end by itself. It may continue for 100 years or so. Like in Arabia, there are 100-year wars and more than 100 years wars between different tribes. Unless a peace treaty was finally signed, the state of war continued. Battles, of course, take place not continuously, but with intervals in between. So that is the reason why Hazrat sallallahu alaihi wasallam started invading different tribes who had initially invaded Medina in Jang-e-Ahzab, and also previously they were conspiring against him. The Jewish people had started conspiring against him. The historians and the Orientalists in the West, they say, look here, there is no reason why he should have attacked this and that and that. He initiated it. But while it is false, once the state of war had started and these tribes were criminally involved in supporting the enemies, after that, whenever you have an opportunity, you can strike back, and this is not an offensive war. So this was the state of affairs in the time of Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam. The state and the empire granted to Hazrat Dawood and Sulaiman was continuously threatened, and many other states who were not directly involved had fully supported the cause of the warring states within the territory. So that was the reason why Hazrat Sulaiman invaded many countries, and the Queen of Saba, the country of the Queen of Saba falls into that category. So he said, now you have, by having initiated support to the enemies of our state, you have now warranted an effective countermeasure to bring you to your size, so that you could never think of such a thing again. But Hazrat Sulaiman said, I do not want to do it with bloodshed. That's the only reason why I am sending messages to you. Why not conduct a peace treaty and accept the overall sovereignty, the right of sovereignty of Hazrat Sulaiman in the entire region? If you do it, not a drop would be shed. Not a penny will be taken away from you. Not interested in wealth, I'm not interested in bloodshed, I'm not that type of king which you know of. So there is nothing despotic in this. And she came with submission. And Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam did not change her sovereignty over her own territory, did not remove her from the position of office and let her alone after this. So where is any sign of despotism? No cruelty was exercised. No transgression was committed. Only what he needed was a guarantee that we will be a friendly state and no more. That guarantee obtained, he returned. I hope you understand this. Please. If we have not enough time,
looks like it.
we are meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
So the rest of the answer can be given to the answer can be given tomorrow. Because if you start it and stop it, it would not be good.
That's right.
Okay?
Yes.
Tell them that inshallah we'll meet again tomorrow. At what time?
11:15.
Quarter to 12 or quarter to 11?
Quarter to 12.
Quarter to 12. Huh?
Yes, quarter.
Quarter to 12
Yes.
according to our time here. But it will be different times, in different places. But we'll be meeting tomorrow again, and the session will start with your translation of what I have said.
Okay, sir.
Right?
Inshallah.
Tell them.
قال حضرة أمير المؤمنين أننا اقتربنا من انتهاء الوقت المحدد لهذه الحلقة، وسأقدم لحضراتكم إن شاء الله ترجمة ما قاله حضرته إجابة على سؤال الأخت الكريمة في هذه الحلقة في لقاء الغد إن شاء الله.
And thank you very much for coming to my send-off party last night. I have received telephone messages from my daughters and others. They said they enjoyed it very much with all the different guests sitting together. Inshallah.
ويبارك الحاضرين هنا لحضرة أمير المؤمنين عن جواز ابنته أيضا.
And I telephoned them only before I came, and my daughter was about to depart. So I reached in time to say her the last minute goodbye and fi amanillah. Yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.